us. So we're looking into that as best as we can at this point. Okay. I don't think Terraria is dead, honestly. I think we might do a little bit more of it. Terraria is still very popular. I'm really kind of sick of it, if I'm going to be honest with you, but maybe if I get to hard mode again pretty quickly, I might be willing to do it again. But I don't know. I don't like sticking with games for that long, and Terraria we've been doing for years, and I'm just, oh god, I'm so done with it. So, Starbound is kind of a new thing, which is helpful. But, honestly, I don't think we really want to be abandoning the Terraria series completely. I just can't guarantee when it'll come out. It was always pretty irregular anyway, because for me it's really low priority, because it's kind of crappy content, but yeah. Let's move on. What do you think about the implementation of raid decks in Hearthstone? Would it work or would it not? It's going to be really hard to do that. Unless you do one-on-one, which is actually not that much fun, there's really no way to communicate, so doing raid decks in the WoW TCG required multiple players. I think they'd probably have to design, not raid decks, but instance decks, yeah? They design an instance deck, whereby a single person gets to fight the instance, yeah? Maybe it's a buy-in, or maybe you just get, like, one a week or whatever, kind of like with arenas, and then there's specific cards that you're rewarded with at the end. That, I think, would be a very cool way of doing things. So, I think they should do instance decks. Raid decks is a very difficult thing to justify, because the way that they have set the game up is 1v1 with minimum communication. So it seems like they'd have to make huge changes to the way the game worked in order to make raid decks work. But, having played the raid decks in the WoW TCG, that was actually one of the most fun ways of winning. It really was. Like, winning against a raid boss was infinitely better than just playing one-on-one. So, there you go. Okay, let's move on, shall we? We're almost through these, and then we're going to do the questions from the chat. We've been collecting them for the last 3 hours, don't worry. Okay, that's kind of the same. Someone basically asking, is there somebody like me covering mobile games? The closest you'll get to that, I think, is Touch Arcade. They do a pretty good job. I disagree with some of the stuff that they say, but they're pretty good with their coverage, so that's probably about the closest. I don't know of anybody else that does my kind of thing with mobile, though. See what else we've got. I think we're almost there. This is about content ID again, isn't it? No, that's an article that I have read already. Can you talk about Hearthstone for iOS? Yeah, it works well. Like, it's really simple as that. I played it. Your decks are going to carry over, so it's one unified account, so you can play the same decks on your iPad as you can on something else. It plays wonderfully. I played the beta version of it at BlizzCon, and it's awesome. You know, just toss the cards out. Completely fine. There's no reason whatsoever not to play it on that device, and I'll probably play it a lot on tablet in bed. It sounds like a really good thing to do. So there, yeah. The Hearthstone is looking really, really good for iOS right now. Okay. Hi, TB. I just started playing StarCraft. I do fine early game playing progress, but I can't transition to late game very well. I can't attack and build stuff at the same time. Any help for you? Focus on your macro. Focus on your macro. Macro, macro, macro. Probes and pylons. Probes and pylons. Like, at that level, at low level, you can win just by building units. It doesn't even matter what units you build, unless they're highly specialized. Just build units. Keep building units. Focus on that. Focus on building units. The best that I can possibly say, really. Like, don't even worry about attacking and micro. Just build stuff. Build stuff, build stuff, build stuff. Okay. Let us continue. I think we're pretty much done with those questions. Okay, we're going to move on to the questions from the chat. I'm going to start from the order of the oldest question. You can still submit questions, by the way. Okay, what do you think of the Shin Megami Tensei franchise? I don't really care about it outside of Persona. That's really it. I've played a couple of the other games. I played some of the old ones, like Digital Devil Summoner, and I also played the latest one, SMT4, and I did not find it anywhere near as interesting as Persona. Because it's a lot of just kind of more traditional dungeon crawling, more traditional JRPG stuff. And what keeps Persona interesting is the social interaction and the kind of extreme contrast, I think, between the whole idea of a social sim and a big dungeon crawler with a lot of personality to it. So, it's cool that SMT continues to be successful, and SMT 4 is very, very good. I know it's very good, objectively speaking, but I don't like it. I can't be arsed with it. So, yeah, that's my opinion on SMT right now. I'm looking forward to Persona 5, obviously, and Persona Q looks pretty good, too. As for the rest of it, yeah, well, I'll probably play Arena, because Arena's pretty good. The latest Arena's probably great, too. But screw the dancing game. Don't even get me started with that. Like, I gotta be honest, like, some of the Persona stuff's already a bit creepy as it is with Risei. And I really don't like the fact that they're going all fan service on that. It's like, fuck. You know she's not that old, right? Come on. It's just unreasonable. So yeah, that's not cool. Okay, what do you think of the fighting game community? Do you think the fighting games can be as big as StarCraft? Aren't they already? Like, their events are just done in a different way. I think about fighting games being as big as StarCraft is that StarCraft's one game and fighting games are like 6 or 7 different games. So, you can still get adequate numbers. You know, the Smash finals at EVO got great numbers. As far as I remember, the Street Fighter 4 finals got really good numbers, so... It seems like it's more irregular, but it's also more homegrown. There's a huge amount of these, like, LAN tournaments available for this. But there aren't really all that many opportunities to play online. Yeah, we've got an online scene, and no one really does tournaments online for fighting games. So, it's a really different scene, and it's hard to compare it as a direct result. It feels very homegrown, which I think is good. And I think they'll survive based on that. Companies don't meddle too much in the fighting game community, so that's good. Okay, I'm not going to answer that one because it's dumb. Was co-optional plays cancelled? No, it was not. We're looking to try and do our first co-optional play, that being forced, before the end of the year. We're working on that. We're just trying to get a bunch of other stuff done first. But yeah, hopefully the next few days we get to play forced, actually. I'm just thinking of how to edit it, really. Because I'm going to get some editing support from the guys over at Polaris for it. They're going to help us edit. But we don't want it to be edited kind of in the same way that PewDiePie and Friends was. Because that's not what we're looking for. It needs to be edited in some way. No, we will not have that one. There we go. It has to be edited in some way. We just don't really know how yet. So we're going to have to try a bunch of different things to make it work. Okay. Will Krendor be the guest for next week's co-optional podcast? Yes, he will. Because last week, my internet was cancelled. Literally cancelled! Like, can you believe that? It was the dumbest shit. Like, the internet went down. I called them up. It's like, oh, sorry, sir. We don't see any internet account at this address. I'm like, what do you mean there's no internet account at this address? I literally had it 5 minutes ago. And they go on, and it's like, yeah, we put out a cancellation order on that today. We've disconnected your service. Like, why? And they look through, and then it's like, we don't know. We don't know why we did that. It's like, you dumbasses, what the fuck? Like, we really bawled them out a lot for it. Because, like, look, we are losing so much money every day from this. They actually got it fixed at 7 a.m. the next day. They sent a guy out, and they got it reconnected, and everything's fine now. But, holy shit. That was so dumb. But all credit to them, right? Screw Time Warner Cable Business Class, but also well done to Time Warner Business Class for actually fixing their shit quickly. So, credit to them for that. Alright. Bit of a repeat from the last Q&A session. If you had to choose only one game to play for the rest of your life, what would you choose and why? Something where I could mod it. Yeah. If I was a Minecraft person, then I'd probably play that one, because, I mean, all the modding you could do for that would be absolutely crazy. I'd play something that I could learn to mod and just create content for. So, funnily enough, it would probably end up being Minecraft. I know it's extreme, I don't even like Minecraft, but if I was stuck for a game with the rest of my life, I'd rather have one that actually has some creativity in it and not a finite end. So, yeah, probably that. I would say maybe Terraria, but it's harder to mod. That, I'm sick of it, so there's that. Okay. Did you read the Dune books, as you said that you liked the games? I read the first one, and then I didn't read any of the others. They're a bit weird. Like, they really are. They're very unusual. They're certainly kind of old-school sci-fi, but they're very, very strange. I do want to read some more of them, but again, it comes down to time. So I read the original. I didn't really read any of the others. But yeah, I love the universe, especially for games. But, yeah, I'm not so big into the books. Alright, let's see what else we've got. A lot of these questions are quite simple. Which is fine, we can crack through them. Favorite card in Hearthstone, least favorite? Probably Ysera. Least favorite, Mind Control. Because they mind control Ysera. Ysera's really fun because she has a very unique mechanic, and she's also a bit of a good bruiser on her own. She can take a lot of damage. But I would say that my least favorite's going to be Mind Control. It's a really nasty card, you know? It really screws people over a lot in a really horrible way. So that's something that I don't really like too much. Aside from like that, I'd probably like Mad Bomber as my least favorite because it screws me over so badly. Although I've got to say that Tinkmaster Overspark is getting there. I keep calling him Mechgineer Thermoplug, which is a little bit weird. Wasn't that the Nomergun boss? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Tinkmaster Overspark was screws me over more than he helps me, I tend to find. But yeah, Mad Bomber or Mind Control is definitely my least favorite because I've died so much to them. Alright. Let us continue. What improvements would you like to see to Hearthstone in the near future? Well, they're gonna fix the damn graphics bugs, that's for sure. They should also make the coin part of the UI and not a card. They need to deal with that. But for the most part, I think they just need to add more cards. Like, the metagame, they haven't really added any new cards for a very, very long time. They made some minor changes with that big first patch. And then, aside from that, it's like we don't have that many cards to play with, I think. So we need to start seeing some regular expansions, even if they just do it in the way that Scrolls did it, where they release like a small number of cards every week. They don't have to release an entire new set at once. Just a couple of extras is fine, too. So they definitely need to do that. And I think they just need more ways to play. Yeah. Right now, it's just Arena and Constructed. I don't find Constructed that interesting. I think the ranking system's really helped it. But aside from that, we need to see some more wacky play modes where you can put a set of conditions, I think, in. Like, we need to see randomly generated decks need to be a thing, I think, to play against friends with. Maybe 2v2 for casual play. What I would actually want to see is the ability to put several effects in, like, this game you have to play with the permanent Lorewalker Cho effect on. Or this game, your creatures lose health constantly, like every turn. You remember the old Soul Calibur single player, where you always had a bunch of different win conditions? I want that. And I want that for, like, a casual mode for people to play. So those are, I think, the biggest changes that need to be made. More cards, more game modes. And then, of course, the Observer interface so we can actually start doing proper casts of it. How do you feel the games industry is going? Pros and cons, how do you feel the indies are getting supported by the industry as a whole? Well, I mean, the industry isn't really a thing. You know, that's kind of like saying the community, isn't it? It's not really a real thing. So, indies are just doing well this year because they have means to sell their material to a large audience, and there's a lot of interest in some of that stuff as well. So, that I think is definitely something to consider there. AAAs have really disappointed me this year. I think it's definitely been one of the worst years in recent memory, which is weird because people will just tell me, what are you talking about? It's been a great year because we had things like Bioshock Infinite, Last of Us, and GTA 5, and I'll tell you my reasons for not liking them. You know, you've heard them before. It's not that I don't like GTA 5, it's just I want to play it on something that's not 8 years old. You know, it's called having standards. The industry right now is trying to inject microtransactions into fucking everything, which is horrible. The monetization is probably some of the worst. We've got away from a lot of this always online DRM stuff, but in return we're being backstabbed with microtransactions and season passes and excessive DLC. I do not hate DLC on its own. Yeah? I like the idea of DLC. I dislike the implementation of most DLC. That's something that really needs to be sorted out. So I think that AAAs have definitely gone in the wrong direction this year for the most part, and as a result there haven't been that many AAAs that I've really enjoyed. I'm hoping the new generation of consoles gives us the ability to get better PC ports and just more interesting games, but if the launch lineups are anything to go by, then that's not guaranteed. What was your main reason for not making WTF Viz on Spelunky? Because I can't be arsed with the backlash that I would get. I fucking hate Spelunky. I really do. I absolutely despise that game. I don't find it fun in any way. And I can't be arsed with how people are going to react to that. Alright, there's just times when I say to myself, it's more trouble than it's worth, yeah? I don't have to do something on Spelunky. Everyone knows what it is already. It's not that useful. All I'm basically doing is I'm going to get a huge amount of backlash that say I'm some fucking hipster or whatever that hates on popular shit. It's like, no, it's a fucking terrible platformer with a bunch of instant death stuff that doesn't respect your time in any way. It takes a huge amount of time to really learn what everything's going to be that's about to dick you over. I don't even find it fun. Like, the platforming I don't find fun, the combat mechanics I don't find enjoyable. If I'm gonna play a game like that, I'll play fucking Risk of Rain, which I think is just way more fun at what it does. So, yeah. I just don't want to play Spelunky. I don't want to play it, and I'm not going to. And I'm not going to make a video about it either. Can't be arsed with it. ITB, you said multiple times that you recommended the Yogscast to TGS back in the day. Did you know of them before all our YouTube stuff? Yeah, I did. I knew of them because they posted on the SA forums. That's where they started. The Yogs thing is the Yoldi Goon Squad. So they posted a lot on that, and I used to listen to the Yog Pod every now and again. It was really funny. So when I was actually reading, I think it was the Let's Play forum, yeah, on the Yog Pod thread or something like that. And I was reading that said, oh yeah, so we had this like offer from Machinima, and I was like, hang on a minute. This probably isn't very good. So I contacted them via PM, and I was like, look, I just got into a new network called the Game Station. And I think maybe we can do you a better deal than this. And Machinima, well, Machinima are kind of dicey at times. You know, they've got a pretty bad reputation. And at the time, by the way, Machinima were actually attacking TGS directly. They'd gone to YouTube to try and get our partnership agreement revoked. Literally, they'd gone to fucking YouTube to do that. And they were sending out emails to all of their partners saying that TGS was a scam and that they were trying to poach all their partners and things like that. They acted really, really underhandedly to new competition coming into space. Machinima used to pretty much have a monopoly on gaming content. They were like the only ones allowed to monetize it. Either you were Machinima or you were nobody. So when competition comes out, they did a really dishonest thing and tried to smash it down. So, honestly, like, for that action, I say fuck them. Right now, they don't really do stuff like that anymore, but they're not in a position to either. There's a lot of partners on Machinima that I really like, but back in 2010, Machinima acted like real dicks. So I did my best to stop Yogscast from going to Machinima. I had a good feeling about them, honestly. I really did. Like, they were really funny. I enjoyed their content. So I recruited them, and now they are where they are. Okay. Let us keep going on. What do you think about games moving from buy one single-player stuff to being service platforms to sell you more stuff in general? Fuck it. Fuck it. I mean, who could ever, like, unless you were a games developer, want that, you know? Who the hell could want that? Absolutely not. It's just awful. There's no benefit to it. None, because there's every incentive for the developer and the publisher to not release a full game if you go down that route. I cannot trust you. This has been my thing for 2013, in fact. I cannot trust you as a developer and a publisher not to fuck me over with your service plan bullshit. So, no, it's terrible. Like, I don't mind DLC, I don't, but only when it's done right. If I pay $60, I should get a full game. Satisfying, yeah? I should only want to buy DLC because you made a really good game, and I want more of it. I should not want to buy DLC because you didn't give me a complete experience in the first place. So, there's nothing good to come from that service platform stuff. Nothing. If you're gonna make a free-to-play game, make a bloody free-to-play game, but don't pretend that your $60 game is a service platform and not a complete product. Because that's bollocks. Absolute bollocks. Okay, let's continue. What food do you miss the most from the UK? Yeah. Yorkshire puddings, but I can make them, so that's okay. What else? Like proper roast beef. It's a good Sunday lunch, Sunday dinner. Good. I think that's probably the way to go. Absolutely love Sunday dinner. My favorite. Mashed potatoes, roast potatoes, 2 kinds of potatoes always. At least 2, maybe even 3. Peas, corn, carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, gravy. That's a roast meat and some Yorkshire puddings. Hell yes. But I learned to make Yorkshire puddings. I had to kind of approximate things because I don't have a metric jug in this country. So I had to measure it in imperial, which was hilarious, but yeah. Definitely missed that. That and biscuits are way, way better over there. Way better. think there's anything else in particular. Maybe, like, Robinson Squash, because the stuff I'm drinking right now, which is just, like, Mio, which is that horrible kind of aspartame stuff. Can't be good for me. What the hell's in this stuff, anyway? What's the flavoring in it? Sucralose, Ace, full moon potassium sweeteners. Yeah, probably not good. Sugar's better for you than that shit, tell you. But it is 0 calorie, and at least it does have some benefit. Alright. Let's see what else we got. What food? Okay, yeah. Did you play the original StarCraft at release? No, I actually didn't. I barely played Brood War. I played the single-player campaign only. I didn't really play anything else with that. So, no, I didn't really play it too much. I was into Warcraft 2, I was into Warcraft 3, and I kind of ignored StarCraft, really, for the most part. Played it a little bit, and just kind of didn't see the appeal. Beat the campaign, I was like, yeah, that was fun, and then just left it alone. Never really played multiplayer at any point during that game. So it's hard for me to really compare it to other RTSs of the day. I think around that time, a lot of them were really going down the Command & Conquer or Total Annihilation clone route. So there weren't really all that many games that were acting like StarCraft or Warcraft. So it was a little bit unique. Okay. How do you think the YouTube content ID claims will affect the gaming industry as a whole, if at all? I think I've covered this in fairly great detail on Content Patch. My nose is itching. Good. Don't know why that is. I've covered this for the most part. I think that a lot of this is going to get sorted out with publishers already kind of saying that they will. And publishers that don't are going to be ostracized publicly for that. And now that there's a real reason to avoid them, because we don't have that kind of protection anymore, you'll see that, I think, an awful lot of these places... Sorry, just trying to pay attention to the StarCraft as well. An awful lot of these publishers will just get less coverage, because there's no point in risking it for it, you know? Why would you even want to do that? So that, to me, is a definite problem, I think, for them. But, again, it is a problem for them. That is something that they are going to have issues with. So, for us, we'll be okay. I think that the affiliate thing is kind of bullshit, and that's something that has to be sorted out between the networks and the partners. And certainly, initially, once this thing comes in with the monetization check, it's going to hurt anyone that's trying to get out day one content for a game. But I believe it will eventually get sorted, and if it doesn't, obviously, a lot of people that are used to either doing reviews or trying to meet embargo dates are just going to have to go elsewhere, and that's going to suck. Like, I really don't agree with that at all, but there's really there's nothing much else that I can actually say outside of what I've already said on this issue. I've covered this already in pretty great detail. No point in really repeating myself. Okay. Let us continue. Let's see what else we've got. What is your favorite genre for books? I read really bad sci-fi mostly. Like, stuff like from Warhammer 40,000. I do not read good books at all. I'd love to tell you otherwise. I don't even enjoy really reading fantasy. The only stuff that I read is either factual, like non-fiction, or I read sci-fi. And I also read Dan Brown books, because I'm a terrible person. I have a really bad taste in books. I'm sorry, I do. I read really crappy novels. And I'm actually kind of okay with that. It's like, you know what? I can do the serious thing. That's fine. I can definitely do the serious thing. And it's okay. And I would just prefer not to necessarily do that with my books, because I can watch serious TV shows. They seem to work pretty well. I should like books more than I do. And I'm actually annoyed with myself that I don't. I feel like a bad person, but it is what it is. Alright, let us continue. Considering most people's attention span is really short, especially in video games, what's your experience when trying to deliver complicated points on a regular basis? What's the best way to do it while being entertaining? Have a nice voice? More often than not, it is actually that. As dumb as it sounds, like, there are certain ways you can really engage people with your voice. And just really explain to people why something's good, why something isn't good, and exactly how things are going. And really just get them engaged with it. And I know that's a terrible way of explaining it, because I don't really know the answer. I just know that people like to listen to me talk. So if I'm doing something complicated, as long as I explain it well and I do it step by step, and reiterate the points that I feel are complex so that people keep them in their mind, I don't think it's really that difficult. But, yeah, that is not the kind of thing that I can really give advice on. Yeah, I know a lot of people's attention to span is really short, but I have a feeling a lot of my videos are background noise for a lot of people. They'll just put them on while they're playing or while they're like making food or whatever. They maybe won't listen to all of my points, but they just like having them running there, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Obviously, I prefer that people listen to me, but more often than not, it's probably just background noise for them. That's fine. It's videos about video games, not important. So, if that's what you want to do, then I'm totally cool with that. Absolutely cool with that. Alright. This is not going well for Young. I'm just watching Young versus Innovation right now, and it is pretty bad. Yeah, Young's going to lose here. It really suck after that to go down to Acer like that, but hey. You know, Acer are a really good team. So, let us continue. What's the next question? Will you have Marcus Beer on the Co-optional podcast? I don't know. I don't really plan that far ahead, honestly. So, you know, I've got a list of guests that I'd like to go on. Marcus Beer didn't really come up on the list. We could do it. I know that he had that really public spat a while ago with Phil Fish, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I think. I respect creators an awful lot. So, when someone makes a game, even if they act like a complete and total tit, I have quite a lot of respect for that person because they did something that I couldn't, and I also understand that you can act like a real tit under pressure when the internet is constantly badgering you, because I've done that myself, so that's always something that I have to consider. So I don't like hate Phil Fish or anything like that, and I think maybe the way that Marcus Beer handled it was not a good way to do it. Like, needlessly antagonizing developers over Twitter is probably not the way you want to go. It's something that I try and avoid as best I can. I think if you're going to criticize someone, there's better ways to do it than that. But that doesn't really mean much. I mean, that's not really reflective of his personality at all. I do dickish things as well. So, that's fine. We might have him on. I know he would be a good guest. He's got a lot of knowledge of the industry, and people like Matt Lees are really good for that kind of stuff too. So, yeah, I'll consider it. What is your opinion on the roleplay show with Hit Me JP? Well, I'm on it. And Roll20 for online tabletop. Is it as fun as IRL? No, it's definitely not as fun as in real life. It never will be. You know, that kind of stuff never will be as fun. But it's still pretty damn good nonetheless. So, that's something very important to note, I think. Is that, frankly, that kind of stuff is good. And it's something that people should definitely engage in when they can. And more often than not, the thing stopping them from doing that is having a lot of people in the same place. So Roll20 is as good a substitute with Skype as you're going to get. But it's definitely not as fun as playing it in real life. Not even close. Absolutely not. But that site does a really good job of giving you all the tools you need, though. Doing it for free as well, which is really generous. Have you ever thought of taking Saturdays and Sunday nights off to stream on Saturday nights regularly? I only take Saturdays off, really. This right now is cutting into my schedule in a big way, but I had to do it because I haven't done it in a few months. So this is really going to screw up my video development today, but I think I should be okay with it. I don't think I can really take off 2 days. Like, people just wouldn't accept it. You gotta consider that having 2 days of no videos is 2 days of no income. Well, it's not no income because people are obviously watching other stuff, but it's reduced income. So having a day off, I think, is fine. Having 2 days off in this industry, I don't think really works, especially not for the volume of videos that I usually make and what they've been expecting from me. I haven't released as many videos as I usually do lately. I like to hit 2, usually 3 a day, and I've not been hitting that lately. So not consistently anyway. I need to see that. I need to get that sorted out. So no. I don't think streaming on Saturday night doesn't really work because it can often clash with a lot of tournaments and things like that, and I don't really want to clash with tournaments. I clash with one right now and I hate it. But I try and do my streams when I'm not clashing with StarCraft tournaments, but every now and again it happens. I wouldn't want to set a time where I say, look, I'm going to stream now, because if it clashes with something else, that can be a real problem. And then maybe I just can't do it, you know? Maybe on Saturday, that's the only time when I get to go do something with the family, so it doesn't seem like an option, really. Alright. This nose. Oh, God. So itchy. Okay. If you expand your channel, what job places would you create? I don't know what that means. In what way? Like, how would I expand my channel? Because really, people come to watch me talk about video games, and you can't really substitute that with somebody else. You know? It's like not even like something like the Game Grumps where one of them leaves and you kind of swap them out and you introduce like a new team and do something like that. I don't think you could do that with this channel. It's entirely personality driven based on what I do, so I don't think I ever would expand the channel. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe about an editor, but with a lot of the content, I don't need one. So I've made content for the last 3 years that I know I can handle on a daily basis myself, so I never over